Jack Dorsey's massive Bitcoin reserve warning. Hey folks, Bitcoin is really pumping right now, and it looks like it. It's like if the strategic Bitcoin reserve comes into play now. But Jack Dorsey is talking about it here. That Bitcoin could fail, and the strategic Bitcoin reserve could play a big role in that. We're looking at his highly explosive warnings that really everyone has seen. You shouldn't let yourselves get unsettled here. In the short term, everything looks really, really good. But Jack Dorsey has an urgent warning. Very, very critical and extremely important warning that everyone should have seen.
Just a few days before the strategic Bitcoin reserve, he releases an interview here and warns that a strategic Bitcoin reserve could even lead to the failure of the Bitcoin project and could also result in that he might lose his interest in Bitcoin and shift to other projects. Because he says it's all nice and good when the Bitcoin price goes up, when we have digital gold. But Bitcoin is losing its original vision, and we're going to take a close look at what he means by that. I don't want to ruin the party for you guys. I don't want to take away your excitement here. I personally believe that the likelihood is definitely there, that relatively early in Trump's presidency, a strategic Bitcoin reserve, or at least a very proactive Bitcoin regulation, meaning a very Bitcoin-friendly regulation, is coming. But check this out. Here are statements that everyone needs to see. And even if you're super bullish about it, then there's also a big downside to such a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And we also need to consider this downside. And Jack Dorsey is no nobody. Jack Dorsey is the founder of Twitter. Jack Dorsey is the CEO of Block. Billionaire, he has so much money, so for him, money isn't really a motivator anymore. It's more about the big vision. He says quite clearly here that the strategic Bitcoin reserve has the potential to push the Bitcoin price up, but it misses the actual vision of Bitcoin. And now let's take a look at this interview with Jack Dorsey, because the points he's throwing out there are super explosive. He has a massive warning for all Bitcoin folks, for the entire Bitcoin community. And you guys definitely need to share this video with your friends. And now we're going to take a look at this interview with Jack Dorsey, because the theses he puts forward here are extremely explosive. He has a massive warning for all Bitcoin folks, for the entire Bitcoin community. And you guys definitely need to share this video with your friends.
How do you feel about the concept of nation-state reserves? Where is the thinking skill for the nation? I don't know, it's not every good thing for big key English for good for Bitcoin holders. In the moment that Bitcoin is bought this month, but what if just digital gold, a failure, if a daily currency succeeded, P2P cash, if it ends up being a currency that people can use on a daily basis, then it's succeeded. You have to go back to the white paper. This is P2P electronic cash and we haven't realized that yet. And that's why I'm in it. I'm not in it to create digital gold and just, watch it grow. A number, I want it to go up because I want to be able to use it. I want everyone in the world to be able to move money without having to ask for permission and to have to ask their bank whether they can deposit something or withdraw. I don't know, like, if we don't achieve that, to me, if we don't achieve that, to me, it's a failed project and we should move on to something else. Also, it's a failed project. What he's saying is crazy and interesting.
So, I find it incredibly crazy and interesting what he's saying here. He says here, a strategic Bitcoin reserve is of course great for our bags. The Bitcoin price is going to pump up. Here, even the Stalins will benefit from that. The US is going to benefit from that. Other Stalins who are betting on Bitcoin, I don't know, Russia, China, if they're also betting on Bitcoin, they will benefit from that. But he's warning here and saying, hey, Bitcoin, is it a failed project for him as long as Bitcoin isn't used in everyday life? And he says that it's not enough for him, that the price is just going up, that we have number go up, that we have some kind of digital gold, that we just have a store of value here. But he clearly says he came to Bitcoin so that people can use it in their everyday lives, so that people can use it without third-party risks, that people can use it who are excluded from the banking system that people can use, who might not even have access to the banking system. And he's just warning and saying, hey folks, if Bitcoin doesn't change and if Bitcoin isn't implemented more as a payment method in the future, it should also be used more as peer-to-peer electronic cash, just like it says in the white paper. It's right there at the top in the first sentence. Bitcoin and peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And if that doesn't happen, then Jack Dorsey will definitely move on. Then he also says Bitcoin is smart, and you all need to check that out. A billionaire says Bitcoin might fail due to focus on numbers. With Block, his own company, a billionaire and all that, he's saying that Bitcoin could fail and the strategic Bitcoin reserve could potentially, let's say, play a part in that because everyone is so focused on just making the numbers go up. And feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below, honestly, that the numbers just keep going up. And feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments below, honestly. Isn't really something to be ashamed of if you just want to see the numbers go up. Are you really into Bitcoin because you want a money revolution here? Are you into Bitcoin for its potential to operate without a banking system separating state and money, to have a big vision, change time preferences, and rise to a new level of consciousness, to build a solid economy with hard money, like gold but better with Bitcoin's advantages? That we can really, let's say, build a solid economy with solid money going back to a hard money standard. Just like it might have been with gold, but now it's so much better because Bitcoin has additional advantages. Let me know in the comments if that's why you're into Bitcoin or if you're just in it because you want to see the numbers go up. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to see the numbers rise because you just want to see the numbers go up. And in the end, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to see the numbers go up. Because sooner or later, it's often the case that you're in a process like this. So you might come for the money. You see the opportunity here like, okay, Bitcoin just keeps going up. I can buy a Lumbo someday, whatever. But eventually you realize, no, it's not about the money. It's not about trying to make quick gains or anything like that. It's really about elevating humanity to a new level of consciousness. It's not about trying to make quick gains or anything like that. But it's really about elevating humanity to a new level of consciousness. If we truly want to live in harmony as a humanity, then we need good money. We need to distance ourselves from central banks. If we really, as humanity here, if we want to continue living in harmony, then we need good money. Then we need distance from central banks that essentially enslave us. So we really have to break free from that slavery. And that's exactly where Bitcoin is the solution. Bitcoin is the tool that allows us to break out of fiat slavery here. And that's why Jack Dorsey is into Bitcoin. That's why a lot of people are into Bitcoin. Honestly, I'm also into Bitcoin for that reason. I really don't care much about it. Whether the Bitcoin price is at 100 or 200,000, or at 300,000. I mean, long term, it's clear to me that Bitcoin is going up anyway. So the rising Bitcoin price isn't the reason I'm so excited about this. It's really just a byproduct. What's much more crucial here is the big vision that we separate state and money, that we are independent citizens, that we can once again be self-sovereign, that we have our finances in our own hands, that we are independent citizens, that we can once again be self-sovereign, that we have our finances in our own hands, that we have something that can't be censored, that no one can take away from us, no matter what political views you have. TC. And I'm totally convinced of that. I'd say that money is one of the main problems in our time. And when the money problem is fixed and we have sound money. For example, Michael Saylor says that money is 50% of all the problems in our world. And once we fix that, the world won't be perfect. No, it's not perfect. But at least we have a world where we can build something very solid now. That means Bitcoin doesn't make you happy tomorrow or make the whole world perfect. But Bitcoin is the tool and the shovel that allows us to build a solid, harmonious, even better, and much more bullish world. That means a lot of people think we're pretty advanced in the world to build a solid, harmonious, even better, and much more bullish world. That means a lot of people think we're pretty advanced in the world. But hey, just imagine if we had sound money. Just imagine if we hadn't had any fiat money experiments over the last 200 years. Imagine if we build a future world based on a Bitcoin standard. We've had fiat money experiments. Just imagine we build a future world based on a Bitcoin standard. I mean, how bullish can all of this get? I mean, that's what we've achieved in the last 200, 300 years. On the other hand, kindergarten. That means everything hinges on money. And we've seen it time and again. When do great empires collapse? When money collapses. What happens when money collapses? Then the demographics collapse and the whole economy falls apart and so on. There are a lot of connections there. So first, the money gets weaker. Then there are a lot of problems. Then there are civil wars, then there are wars in general, then there are currency wars. Demographic problems. Then there are economic problems and so on. It's all interconnected. You can't just say, okay, the economy is bad now, or the demographics are bad now, or there are some other problems. Now there are internal conflicts, external conflicts, and so on. It's all connected. There are also people like Ray Dalio who have been talking about this for years. That basically means that with the falling money, all the other problems come along with it. Like, for example, a country tearing itself apart from the inside, and you just have to watch. Basically, until it all blows up. There was another saying. Wasn't that some kind of socialist? Stalin or someone once said, if you want to ruin a country, just give them fiat money. They'll end up destroying it all by themselves sooner or later. I'm not sure if it was Stalin, but some socialist once said this phrase. And there is definitely some truth in that. But hey, check it out. Jack Dorsey has more statements here that are super explosive, and you really need to pay attention to them.
I'm interested in the internet having a native currency. The best technology for that today is Bitcoin. I'm interested in open protocols for social media. The best manifestation of this that I have found today is Noster. And I guess there's an equivalent for artificial intelligence in the open source world that has not yet been fully realized. But it's somewhere out there. But all these technologies can differentiate from each other. And it's just a matter of how we use them. I think AI is definitely going to need a payment gateway, and it's going to require a protocol for moving money on the internet. Could Bitcoin be that? It doesn't need a protocol for communication. Nostr could be that, especially with people, the more remote they are. So all these things can actually work together and create a positive connection between themselves and others. I don't think it's a payment for me.
He's talking now about how what interests him are basically open, money protocols. And what fascinates him the most here, or where he sees the biggest potential, is just Bitcoin. That's the only money protocol. It's just Bitcoin. That's the only money protocol. That is open here. Free is where it kind of makes sense in today's world. Of course, you could say gold. Makes sense in today's world. Of course, you could say gold. On a physical level, there's also an open money protocol here. But we're in a digital world. And gold really only works in the physical world. Really. In the digital world, it gets tricky because we have an oracle problem. And that's why I said very clearly, Bitcoin is the preferred protocol here. When it comes to this, really, let's say, money in the current age or here in today's time is open and free to use. And then he also says there's a social media protocol here that interests him. So that's obviously here, Nostr. Then Nostr would be the perfect choice here. And then he also says that AI. History will keep evolving, and that's super exciting. He says yes, that AI technology also needs an open money interface or a money medium. And it's probably not going to be fiat money here, because fiat money has third-party risks. Gold isn't going to cut it either, because it's not digital, and that really leaves only one option. Here, Bitcoin, that means Bitcoin will be the native money for AI as well. So, for example, if you have self-driving taxis or whatever, right? If you have robots or something like that, then they'll probably have their own wallets. Then you can somehow pay for the taxis with Bitcoin, and it'll be pretty decentralized. Somehow walk across the stage here. I have no idea how that's going to be exactly. Elon Musk always talks a lot about how we're basically entering an age where there's basically an abundance of everything, because AI is going to take so much off our plates and bring so much technological progress and increase in prosperity. Here, it'll also mean that things will cost almost nothing anymore, that there will probably be houses available at very, very low cost. Here, it'll mean that things will cost almost nothing anymore, that there will be houses, probably at very, very low cost. And then it's becoming more and more relevant to have Bitcoin here, because Bitcoin is still limited here despite the abundance we'll have. Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey, they know each other really well. So they're both obviously on a similar trip here. Although I have the feeling that Elon Musk hasn't quite grasped Bitcoin yet. But Jack Dorsey totally gets it. I also saw an interesting interview here yesterday. Then it was actually about the dangers of such an AI world. If we really move into a transhumanist world, where we have robotic arms and all sorts of gadgets, some kind of glasses that let us see even better and expand our senses, then that's obviously awesome. But in this interview, it's also pointed out that this obviously separates us from our divinity, because we wouldn't be operating in our biological environment anymore, but because we would be operating in such a pseudo-environment. And here, basically through AI and through robotics and transhumanist experiments, etc. Continuing to distance ourselves from our true nature. And that's why I really recommend this. Get out into nature. Connect with nature. Go walk around barefoot. Go into the woods, hug a tree. Or whatever, get yourselves a little dirty or something. Are you really connecting with nature? Be one with the universe. That's a really, really big recommendation. The one that I can really pass on to everyone. And I understand those warnings too. When people say, for example, that the whole AI thing is obviously awesome. On one hand, it brings endless prosperity. On the other hand, it will obviously pump Bitcoin massively. Because when there's an abundance of everything, more or less, it will obviously here. Bitcoin will benefit the most because Bitcoin is the only one. That it can't just be newly produced through AI or something like that. That means you could even go so far as to say, hey, you could mine gold with some robots using AI or whatever, right? That's obviously super out there, or maybe a simpler example. Printed with a 3D printer, using robotics and AI. In connection, you can create real estate very, very easily here. This is obviously the long-term vision here. That's not happening tomorrow or the day after, but maybe 20, 30, 40 years. And then the real estate prices will drop. But Bitcoin will keep pumping anyway, because it's limited. And you just have to weigh all of that against each other. I don't think AI is bad here either. Or if you have some other crazy gadgets. or something like that. I'm using an iPhone or a microphone or something like that here too. That's all really true. Awesome things. You have options here that people didn't have hundreds of years ago. But you always have to find the right balance, people and technology, between AI, between all the stuff that's coming our way. And then still not here, losing the connection to nature. I can already see the trees back there. I'm gonna give out some fruits here later. It's actually mango season here. That means so crazy. The whole streets here are full of mangoes because nobody is picking them up. People would rather buy some chips or whatever. Here, really, you can see it. I don't know if you can see it here. You can probably see it in the camera. Can't see. The whole trees are really packed from top to bottom with mangoes. I feel like I'm the only one here picking up the mangoes. Because people probably prefer to munch on, I don't know, chips, go for Snickers or Coke. Or whatever. What people are doing. And that's why I'm sending you all lots of sunshine. And many greetings from Paraguay. Don't forget, I'm going to put a link down below to 21 Bitcoin if you want to buy Bitcoin. Here you can easily and safely use the code. You can even save up to 20% on the fees when buying Bitcoin. Absolutely recommend it here. 21bit.coin. Let me know what you think about Jack Dorsey. Important words spoken. See you later. Peace out.